I thought it was just, I did think it was just me and you.
I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize. Oh no, no apology required at all.
We've chatted three other times. I was looking at the first time was with your mom, your dear mom,
Right.
about I think 4.5 years ago. Uh,
Yeah.
my favorite part was when you went away and then I asked her to tell me some stories about Naughty Tim.
Yeah, she likes, like most mothers, proud mothers like to tell some stories about their offspring.
Yeah, yeah, your mom was hilarious. She had a
I see.
wonderful, yeah.
Yeah, I will say when you lived with her, it was less hilarious.
And then the last time I saw you, Tim, you were actually holding Satsang back in that corner where that little round black air filter is now in
I was.
November of 2023. You were here in LA.
I was, yeah. Allegedly.
Yeah, there's no proof.
Well, no, you've got video evidence.
I do, but does it really?
It sort of doesn't prove anything, does it?
Yeah, it's a lovely memory and I love the picture of us, but it's only ever just what's happening now.
It surely is. Yeah, I've got fond memories of it as well.
Yeah, one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you again, Tim, is it seems, I hate to use the word rare, but it just doesn't seem as common as I hear it expressed like you express it and Leela and Indira, in that it's a very balanced, no fireworks, no promises of bliss.
No, no, I don't. It doesn't feel like making any promises. No. Well, there's no possibility, so there can't be any promises. You can't promise a future that doesn't exist, can you?
We try.
Well, I mean, it's what virtually everyone does most of the time. They're making, I don't know, presumptions and hopes and fears about an imagined future. And it may sound like that imagined future doesn't appear anymore. Of course, imagined future appears.
Yeah.
I get, I mean, my best guess would be there's a lot of difference between an imagined future and a real future. When it's undoubted that any thought about the future is a thought about the future and no more than that. When a hope for the future is no more than a hope for the future. When a fear of the future is no more than a fear of a future that doesn't exist. You know, the thought exists, the fear exists, the hope exists, but the future doesn't. It just doesn't.
Just before this Zoom, Leela and I were Zooming, and we came up with a four-part compound word. Like we put four words for this, because honestly, saying it's just this can get a little boring.
It surely can.
So all inclusive, all inclusive, doubtless uncertainty.
Oh, that was my favorite.
Yeah, you helped us write that.
Yeah, that's my favorite. That's my favorite, really.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, it does feel all inclusive because it doesn't exclude anything.
No, well, if there's nothing to be excluded. I mean, it sounds as though, then there's you're choosing
Yeah.
I think it's often misheard. So there's a choice about whether it's inclusive or not. Of course, no, the inclusivity includes all exclusion as well. So, the desire to exclude some of what seems to be happening that's completely included.
Yeah.
So
It's inescapable.
utterly, yeah. And that's why I often speak about I think that's why, if we speak in this way, it's never going to be popular, because when we say we're offering nothing, or when that's said, that is absolute. But it's also offering everything that there is, which is, that's not on offer, it's given. This is a given, not an opportunity. This is not an opportunity. This is not a possibility. It's freely given, whether it's received or not.
Well, that sounds like unconditional love.
It certainly does sound a bit like that, Michael.
We're going to
It
do a
might,
great.
now, it might sound like that to me and you. Here's the thing. To me and you, that sounds like unconditional love. To others, it sounds like nihilistic shit.
Yeah.
There's the thing that you can't get past. And how words are heard, or how this is heard, there's no well, there's no way of knowing. It's just heard, or it's heard or not. It's heard in the way that it's heard.
Yeah, yeah.
It can't. Yeah.
It's
It's only I don't want to sound. I get a bit Jesus sometimes, and one of the one of the things that he allegedly said was, "For those who have ears, let them hear." Now, if you haven't got ears, you're not going to hear. And it does seem that only those with ears, and there's not that many with ears. But if you have the ears, then you can't not hear. So I think it's that way. So if you don't have ears, of course you can't hear. And if you do have ears, then you can't not hear. There's no choice. And again, that feels like unconditional love. Those who can't hear are not choosing not to hear.
Yeah.
It's just not heard. Because I just remember when this was heard, it was so doubtless, and it was really clear that I had no choice in whether I heard it or not. I didn't really want to hear, and yet there's still hearing. It was unavoidable, inescapable.
You think you want something, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We don't know what it is we want.
And I think the other thing that, again, does seem a little bit different how I want to speak about it and others speak about it, is that this is not what I wanted. Because I always wanted something else.
Well, yeah, you wanted something for you.
Yeah, absolutely. No, but just the essence of wanting is not this, but that.
Yeah.
Or not this, but I want this, not this. So I can even self can delude itself that it wants this, but of course it won't be this that it wants. It will be this that you have, or this that he speaks about, or this that she's alludes to.
Yeah.
And of course it's never not
Well,
this.
the funny part is anything that I could want this to be like would be something I would know.
Yeah, of course. Otherwise, there would be no point in wanting it. You'd have to know it. Yeah, that's very true. That's why I still desire, things like a cheese and pickle sandwich, because I can know that. I like material.
Well,
um,
it
I
was
like
I forget, it was Woody Allen or some comedian back in the 50s said, um, no, I love reality because it's the only place I can get a good pastrami sandwich.
well, that's right on the money. Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of felt like, well, every time you talk about it, it sounds like a thing, but um, it felt like I'm finally allowed to be a human, just to put it in practical terms.
Say that again, Leela.
I felt like I was allowed to be a person finally.
Oh,
Like I could
yeah.
just,
To be human, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I think that's why this isn't, it doesn't feel like a spiritual message, because for me, all of spirituality was some kind of escape from, the dirty, grubby messiness of being human.
yeah,
I don't know, something other than bodily. And now that the whole notion that spirit is separate from the body seems nonsensical.
yeah. Cool.
Yeah, it's I don't know what you say when people ask you, well, if you're not yourself, then what are you? If you're not you, what are you? And I say human being, and it seems correct, being human. And I don't know what it means to be human, just being human. You don't, there's no requirement of any knowledge to be human.
Well, to me, being human is basically everything. It's being, and being, there's a humanity to being.
Yeah, and well, we don't get a choice. I mean, I wouldn't now and again. I'd like to be bird because I like the idea of flying. So being bird sounds still attractive, and occasionally being dog or being tree. That looks pretty serene and wonderful, having the wind just blowing your leaves. But so those fantasies might still appear, but there is no escape from being human for a human being. That seems doubtless as well.
No, it's embracing. It finally,
Yeah.
like Leela said, I can
Yeah.
finally embrace if I'm annoyed, hallelujah, I'm annoyed. How lovely.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it is particularly feelings, because what self does is there's some feelings that are good and there's a lot of feelings that are bad. And I have to deny those and try to avoid them, try
Tim,
to avoid, try to avoid showing them even to myself. Yeah.
exactly. Tim, is there anything more worse than for a spiritual aspirant or a Christian or to feel guilty?
Yeah. It's horrible. It's monstrous, really.
Well, it's my proof I'm not there yet because I still have feelings.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And this is freedom. This is liberation for feeling.
Yeah, poor feeling.
Yeah.
Oh,
For
that was a
feeling.
surprise. That was certainly a surprise.
Absolutely. I mean, most of my depression was that sadness was wrong. All that sadness ever indicated to me was that something's very wrong because there's sadness. Sadness was just an indication of fault. Something's amiss. The whole notion of sin. The whole notion of sin is that you've missed the mark.
Yeah.
There's a mistake has been made. And
Can we say, Tim, can we say that that feeling that all of us had, that here I would say something was off, but
yeah,
it turned out it wasn't off the way I thought it was.
yeah, and absolutely, there's nothing that could be on or off.
Yeah.
So freedom from the whole notion of there is a right way. I think that's what it is for me. And it doesn't matter what you were conditioned to believe was the right way. Because again, as a child, you had no say over what you were conditioned to believe was right and wrong. But there's no doubt that every child, to a degree, greater or lesser extent, is conditioned to believe that some feelings, some thoughts, some behaviors, some actions are wrong and others are righteous.
Yeah.
So freedom from that is that's why I might use the word liberation.
Mm-hmm.
That freedom is freedom for the feelings, for the being human, not for the human being, but for the being human. So they're all aspects of being human, and not there are no feelings that are more human than others. The whole everything. It's the whole palette. It's the whole tapestry. It's the whole all of it.
Yeah, so there was this belief in bad and good, wrong and right. And so seeing that has dropped, what seems to be happening here is emotions just come up, and seeing that the body is capable of handling all and every single emotion that arises here. And it like what Michael was saying, nothing really changed. It's just seeing that all is perfect just as it is right here,
Yeah,
without and the judgment of the emotions that are arising. And so that's the liberation right there. Even though there's
yeah,
no such thing as liberation, it's just like what Leela was saying. It's just, hey, it's just like, whoa, right here. It's wow. It's this simple, this ordinary. Oh,
yeah.
there's anger coming up and it's okay, and then it's done.
Yeah, of course, because I mean, it's cliched, but there are some cliches that are really accurate. And one is that whatever you resist, whatever self resists, persists. And
Mhm.
I mean, that is a cliche in psychology, but it's so true.
Mhm.
And what self is always doing is resisting all those negative, either resisting, running or hiding. So there are either distracting, hiding, running, turning away from. Well, I mean, and it's all beautifully innocent. I mean, I'm not suggesting any of that is wrong either. One of the most wonderful things is it's so obvious that self can't do any other but be afraid of those emotions because self is very afraid of feeling wrong. I'm terrified of getting it wrong. I'm terrified of not being good enough. This sense of not incompletion comes with being me. The very nature of me is that I'm not good enough. I'm not complete.
If I can't control my feelings, anything could happen.
Absolutely, it's anarchy as well. Yeah, I don't know how it was for you, but when I would cry, I would be very afraid of of really crying when it was uncontrollable, because it felt that if I didn't manage to get it back in control, then I'd cry forever. It wouldn't. The sadness would be never ending, and I had a real terror of that. But of course, feelings that are felt or feelings that are just expressed freely, then they pass incredibly quickly.
It feels like now there's no anticipating them,
No, yeah,
and also they don't linger. So it's
no, they
just
don't.
like bam, and
Yeah,
it's over.
yeah, they're more intense. It's full on. I used to say it more than I say it now, I, I think it was in contrast to how it used to be because I was very guarded about feelings. Then they're full on, it felt like they were raw and naked, almost like I didn't have any skin. There's no protection against feeling at all. So it felt like being naked, even naked of skin. When it suddenly made real sense when people spoke about raw emotion, raw as in there's no skin. I don't even have skin to protect me from it. And the
Yeah.
one and the love is that, of course, there's no need to be protected from feeling. There's actually no one to be harmed from feeling. Feeling is just what it is. It's unconditional love, regardless of the feeling.
I want to say no one told us that.
Without any doubt, no one ever told us that. They told us quite the contrary, Michael. Everyone told us just the opposite. They said there were safe feelings. So happiness is the goal, because when you're happy, you're happy. And happy equals safe, actually. That's what self hears. I think when you're a child, you hear happiness is the goal. So happiness is what will be acceptable. I smiled all the time. I still am fairly smiley, but I don't mind being a miserable bastard now. Whereas when I was a child, I was really afraid of being, say I'm sad or I'm just
Yeah.
grumpy, just being grumpy and miserable. Melancholy. I think melancholy is a natural human.
Yeah.
A natural human way of being that is really mostly, it's reviled. Most selves are afraid of this natural,
Tim.
just quite a beautiful sadness is what I'm talking about.
Yeah. There is beauty in it when it's seen that I'm not doing it.
Absolutely. When it is just what it is, because there's no doubt that life is sad.
Yeah.
I mean, I just, if anyone says that, that, that life is all bliss and wonder, I mean, well, are you sure? Are you sure, or are you still pretending and kidding yourself? I mean, what self does a lot is kid itself. So I kid myself, and what I have to do is turn away from the horror, turn away from the grief, turn away from the loss.
There's such a relief in that. There's such a
Yeah.
relief in seeing that there doesn't have to be happiness here all the time.
No, I mean, what a relief. I mean, that is,
Yeah,
to be honest, I guess I often I get asked what's the motivation to speak about this, because I'm regularly saying there's no point, and it's not, it's not of any value, but of course there is value in that. There is value in that, oh, some human beings may hear this and they won't think that sadness is somehow meaning that they're faulty in any way, or there's any fault at all. And I don't doubt that if every human being felt that sadness was love and didn't doubt that, if it was doubtless that all sadness is a really pure, clear expression of love, then of course sadness would be just as, you could say, desirable. It's not going to be desirable, because I would still prefer to be happy. It's not that. I think that's natural. That's the natural way. But it wouldn't be rejected. And I think what nearly every human being rejects sorrow. And much of life is sorrow. Everything is always being lost. There's actually nothing that is ever. So it's not that you actually lose everything. It's that there's never anything to lose. The sorrow is so deep. The sorrow is so absolute.
You don't get to escape it. It gets to express.
No. And it becomes more. I have people also ask me, so has there been a deepening? Because I don't know how many years I've been pretending I know something about this. But I've been pretending for some years now that I know what I'm talking about. So people think that there must be a deepening. And I guess, and there is no depth to this. It doesn't have depth. But there can be, I think the only thing that maybe is more doubtless is that there's nothing to be gained. And so there's nothing to be lost. But yeah, there's no depth to nothing. What we're speaking about is the fullness of emptiness. and that doesn't have a depth. You can't get to the bottom of nothing. The deeper you go, the more nothing there is. But of course, there's no more nothing than nothing. It's it's quite wonderfully unattainable. That's again, that's why I might talk about this as unconditional love, is that I don't doubt that anyone could have more or less of what we're speaking about, which I guess I'd like to call it life, really, but of course it's death as well. So there's nobody more or less alive. There's no more or less of life. There is just life.
Yeah.
Which is fully inclusive of death. Death isn't separate from life. Again, that's not very popular.
Well,
there's liberation in it, though. Again, liberation from, if this is death, then of course, I mean, it's exactly the same as what I was saying. There's no future. Most people's fears of the future are getting old, getting ill, and death. Of course, they're not going to happen. They're either happening or not. They're definitely not going to happen. If anyone asks me what I think will happen, I go, well, I'm certain nothing's going to happen. Surely everyone can be certain of that. But of course, most people are not certain of that at all. So
hey,
there's no fear of death if it's ever present. What have you got there?
Is a quote by some bloke from England.
What did he say?
What does it say? Whilst happiness is the goal, sadness will be the enemy. Tim
Oh.
Cliss.
Oh, yeah, I saw, yeah. Well, you posted that. Thanks, Michael. You posted that, and I thought, oh, that's pretty good. I wonder who said that. Then it was me, and I thought, well, I better post that then. So I put it on mine, and I've had.
Who said that?
Happens to the best of us.
There's nothing funnier than hearing your own words and not realizing and thinking, oh, that's pretty good. Who said that?
Not bad.
Of course it's good. I said it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No, but it resonated. The reason I was so struck by it is I used to be, back in my day, a motivational speaker. I interviewed Tony Robbins and,
Right.
Wayne Dyer and everybody. And I used to go around and talk about the art of being happy. Like I fucking knew what I was talking about. And
well, if you're going to motivate somebody, you better fucking convince them you do know what you're talking about.
Well,
That's the most important.
the joke was on me, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Because unknowingly, like you pointed out, if I make happiness my goal, then I have to make sadness the enemy.
you do. Yeah,
Yeah. The other shoe's gonna drop eventually.
yeah, yeah. Well, it's just a constant rejection, and I mean, self doesn't even know it's doing it. In the pursuit of happiness, then it's not just sadness. I mean, we're talking every other emotion. Every other emotion is a fault, is an error. I've erred. I've gone off the path.
Yeah,
so
it's
the
not
path
it.
is. Yeah, so I mean, we're talking really. I don't know. I'm a little bit down this morning. I just really don't fancy it. I'm not motivated. So it doesn't have to be anything big. That's dreadful. When the pursuit of happiness is the goal, then any delineation from that, if you deviate from the path, then you're just going to chastise yourself and you useless fucker.
But Tim, that's the trap. That's the hamster wheel, because I'm using that as my gauge to tell me I'm not there yet. Oh, I don't have bliss 24/7. That lets me know I'm not there yet. So unbelievable.
Yeah, it's like a toxic positivity.
Mhm. No, and I do think and that's more of a epidemic in America than it is in the UK, I have to say, because most English people are, mildly miserable all the time, and they're pretty okay with it. But this kind of insanity of happiness that America seems to have as an epidemic, and of course, happiness equals success. That's the problem. So, of course, what does sadness or even the absence of happiness doesn't even have to be sadness.
Yeah.
The absence of motivation, the absence of positivity, any negative thought is just the enemy.
Yeah. So listen, I don't know. At least the English will admit it. It's a dour day. It's overcast. Yes, we fucking can't even face that. So we put on a
I
fake
know.
positive. Oh, it's all beauty. You're so beautiful. It's all just love. Yeah.
Mm.
Yesterday I was talking to a friend of mine, and his cat he was telling me his cat, I was watching his cat on the video, and she's just miserable. She keeps chasing her tail, and then she's like, "Arr!" Like she growls.
Yeah.
And he says to me, she's just a miserable bitch, Indira. And I said, that's so cool. Like she
Yeah.
knows who she is. Well, she doesn't know herself, but I mean, it's just expression of her grumpiness. That's just her personality. But how lovely is that? Do you
It
know?
is.
Like, okay, it's like
Yeah.
it doesn't take away the extraordinariness or the emptiness or the whatever you want to freaking call
No.
it. Yeah, yeah. She still has that just expression of grumpiness and angry all the time.
Yeah,
See,
and we're hypocrites, Indira. We don't want to admit that, yeah, I got an angry bitch inside me. Yes, sir, I do. And it's
oh,
like we're not free to just come out with it, where the cat could give a fuck.
yeah.
Yeah, self-consciousness is probably the biggest bitch of all,
Yes. Yes.
really.
It feels freeing to express anger and to see the frustration come up and to see grief come up here and be okay with it. Um, and like Leela was saying, I the way I like to put it in words is that it doesn't have legs anymore, where it would just have
Right.
legs,
Hmm.
and like the legs were cut off, and it's just like just anger,
Mm.
or even
Yeah.
jealousy will arise here too, or comparison and all that will just come up, or
Yeah.
thoughts that arise and judgmental thoughts, and it's like, ooh, and but there's just when the emotion is in the body and it is felt in the body, that's what's happening. So the
Yeah.
thoughts seem to be they're still back there, but there's more attention to the
Yeah.
sensations in the body, and so it's okay. And then it's done, and I love that part. It's like, and then there's a forgetting.
Oh, yeah. Soon, it's very soon forgotten. Yeah.
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 It doesn't have like that momentum. It doesn't
No.
matter.
Well, it's of no significance. The only significance that feelings have is they're mine. They're my feelings. So everything that's mine is significant.
Mm.
But if it's not my feeling itself is not significant, it's wonderfully free and open. And I mean, it's just literally the wind blowing, or it's still, or it's raining. It's like it's just weather.
Mm.
And we soon forget the weather, and we soon forget feelings. But when they're mine, they're saying something about me. Then of course they're significant. Then they do matter. They are meaningful because they're a commentary about me. So if I'm angry, then I need to do something about that because anger is dangerous. Anger is wrong. I was taught very early in life that anger was dangerous. So that makes me dangerous. So I'm a danger. And of course, what I'm most afraid of is people will abandon me or dislike me. And
You go through
so,
life feeling
of
like a
course,
fraud.
I'm afraid of those emotions.
Say that again, Leela.
Yeah. I just said going through life feeling like a fraud because you're constantly trying to seem strong and
Yeah, absolutely. And nearly everyone feels a fraud
Mm.
to a greater or lesser extent.
And that's what makes us not special because we're all experiencing.
No, no, it's funny that the most special ones are the greatest frauds, probably.
Well, I
The
love,
selves that feel most special are the ones that hide most.
yeah, I love what you said in your video. You did a little mini rant on how we're all humans are the same. There are no more special humans than any other.
No,
yeah.
absolutely. I don't doubt that at all. And I guess that's rare because whilst there is a sense of me is just flip-flops between grandiosity, how much better, how wonderful I am, and then of course would flip in a second to how pathetic and useless I am.
Absolutely.
That's all I did. My entire life is that, just flip-flopping between this. Yeah, I am actually quite wonderful and special, and then of course something would happen, and
Yeah.
it would be obvious that actually I'm quite an asshole. So of course you can try and be. There are plenty of assholes who try to be the most special asshole in the world.
Yeah.
You can do that. I know a few of those who are very proud of how bad they are.
Well, what gets me are the ones that think they're so special that they're actually doing you a favor.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
Their asshole is teaching you that,
Yeah.
Well, I've done that before. Tried to, tell somebody about Eckhart Tolle or something, back in the day.
Me too. I think when I started talking about non-duality, I was a bit evangelical about it. Not for long though, because it's pretty obvious that it's the worst thing you could ever do. So
Yeah.
it didn't last very long, but I think I was for a little while.
I saw the same look on the people's faces I was talking to that I remember having when Christians used to proselytize to me about Jesus Christ. And
It's the
I saw
same.
them kind of glaze over as I was talking. I'm like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're like, but this is so interesting. Why
Yeah.
aren't you into it?
I don't know. Do you have Jehovah's Witnesses knock on your
Yes,
door?
same thing. Yep.
Yeah, we have Jehovah's Witnesses, and we have Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses knock on our door in the UK.
Mm.
And yeah, the last thing you'd ever want to be would be the non-dual equivalent of that.
And I thought I was special because I figured out, that Christianity was just a bunch of dogma. And I seemed to be the only one around me that figured that out at a young age. And
Yeah.
I thought I was the smartest person in the room.
Well, Leela, you probably were.
Oh.
You probably were. I'm not even joking about that.
Thank you. So to me, the meetings, the Zooms, this right here, I'm just grateful for the ability to commune with like-minded because it is like finding diamonds. Like to me, it's the rarest of the rare.
Yeah, not to make us special at all, Michael, but yeah, you're probably. Now, the thing about rare, no, I agree that it's rare. The problem is you can easily make rare into special.
You could if you forget that what we're excited and sharing together is nothing.
Oh, it's lovely, yeah. No, I completely agree.
Yeah. When it's nothing, it's a celebration of nothing. How beautiful
Well,
is it?
how lucky. I mean, I just, the wonder of the internet, the World Wide Web to me, it's just the greatest wonder. And I know everyone bitches about it and complains. But I'm not. I'm sitting in a little village in the middle of nowhere in Cambridgeshire. I would have never, ever been able to talk to anyone about this. Well, maybe I would have done because I went to London to see Tony Parsons. But, I can speak to people every day and whenever and just share this. And because it shouldn't be underestimated, this can be quite lonely. It can be quite isolating, especially initially if this is heard and it's not doubted, then no one in your family has heard it, and none of your friends can hear it. And it's wonderful to be with people who can.
It is wonderful.
That's true.
I'm just like the biggest weirdo around in my family. They're like, they love me anyway. Just put it like that.
Yeah. Well, I'd say, I'm not sure mine love me anymore. They're basically tolerant, like most good English people are. We'll just put up with his eccentricity. It's kind of like that.
Yeah. That's Tim.
He's a bit weird. He used to be straight, but now he's gone fucking way off. He's in a cult. In fact, he's probably leading a cult now. I don't know. He was in a cult. Now he's one of the cult leaders or something.
Wow.
He's written books on the cult.
Books on the cult.
Next is a commune.
But yeah, most people are fairly tolerant, as long as I don't mention it. If we speak about it, then it can be uncomfortable straight away.
Yeah.
It's nice to hear Tony Parsons, or Jim Newman, or just anyone who's speaking about this. And there's just for me, there's like a joy to it. Whereas before there was more, I was entertaining those thoughts of jealousy and wanting to be like, how can I, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh yeah, that's, like when he would speak, it's like, yes.
Yeah, I remember that the first time I went to see Tony and I wasn't resentful. That's God's honest truth. That is, I've been going for years and I resented it so much. So much jealousy, envy, resentment, bitterness. I'd like to be fucking it's all right, you and your fucking beloved.
Yeah, well, you're not alone, brother, because I remember watching.
No, I didn't know. We would all go to the cafe afterwards and we'd just all bitch.
Yeah.
That's all did.
Yeah. Well,
it's all this, I used to get, what do you mean? What do you mean? What's all this? Explain,
I know.
Like,
I know. And then
I stopped resentful last year. That was last year. That's when the resentment was just gone. Yeah.
And then I went and I just smiled and giggled all the way through.
Yeah.
It was lovely.
He does say the beloved though, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is lovely.
Yeah, it is.
If I could make up a reason why I like to talk about it, it's because it's nothing like I thought. And I really just want to talk about that. Like, it's not what you think. Yeah.
No, it's nothing to do with what you think at all. No. Which again, I loved it. Tony always said that.
Mm-hmm.
He said, whatever you've imagined this to be, it's not that.
Yeah. And you think you hear that, but
no, you don't. You can't. No, you can't hear that. No. Well, the thing is, there you go. It is everything you imagined it to be as well, because it's everything. So if you,
it's familiar and yet unfamiliar.
Yeah, and it's completely familiar, and also absolutely brand new. So it's never been seen before. So you never actually get to see it. So How is a familiarity that can't be spoken? Yeah.
Hey, Tim, who said this? There's only this, there's only this, and this isn't a destination.
Oh, that's good. That
Yeah,
now that has to be me because
yeah,
that's good.
yeah, yeah. I love that, right? There's only this, so we're only
Yes.
talking about this. And
Yeah.
by the way, it's not a destination.
And you will not arrive.
Never.
There is no arrival.
Mm, how awesome is that?
I mean that. I mean, if you want mind blowing, there you go. That'll do it. So you can't arrive here.
Mm,
No, it's not a destination.
mhm.
And again, that feels like unconditional love because I don't doubt, no matter who you have fantasized who had arrived, who had got there, they hadn't.
Mm,
Isn't that? I mean, that's so much love in that.
Yeah,
mm,
it's compassion.
There's no possibility of arriving. There isn't a destination to arrive at. You can't get here. There's only here. You would have to leave here in order to get here, and of course, there's no leaving. There's no coming or going.
mm.
Yeah.
What a relief.
Great, immense relief.
It's funny because I once said to Leela, all is this doesn't leave anything out. What
Mm,
are what are they hearing?
Mm.
Right? All is
Right.
this is all inclusive. Whatever you say, that's it.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's like a thought trying to step apart so it can observe and manipulate, and it's
Yeah.
pretending to be a part to I mean, it's
Yeah.
so innocent. Just sort of like an energy that fizzles out.
mm,
Yeah.
mm.
It just never occurs to us that the seeking for it in this moment, if I'm seeking for it, that is it.
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That'll make you laugh.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when that dawned on me while I was still seeking it, but it became doubtless that, okay, what I'm seeking can't be found, and the seeking of it is actually no less this than the finding of it and the seeking of it are not two.
Mm.
That's when despair set in.
Yeah.
I really fell into despair at that point because I didn't doubt that it was hopeless. And what I'd feared most was it being hopeless.
Mm.
That's what fears most. It was for me anyway. And once there was no doubt that it was hopeless, then self got very, very afraid. I was terrified because
Oh,
there was nothing for me to do.
Mm.
And I
yeah.
didn't doubt that there was nothing that I could do.
The last place you want to look.
Yeah. Well, I always loved Tony's open secret. He said, well, if you wanted to hide, where would be the best place to hide?
Plain sight.
Everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. So Leela came up with, I love this, the grace of futility.
Oh, yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, that is unconditional love, as I'd say, that's futility is unconditional love. Yeah.
Or the grace of exhaustion, which is,
Hmm.
yeah.
And we can add disillusionment. That's a lovely one. Add that in the mix. So put it all in a big pot: hopelessness, meaninglessness, pointlessness, despair, despair. Like the witch's cauldron. Put it in. Couple of bat's wings, eye of newt, tongue of frog. Stick them all in the pot. Stir it up.
That's all you need.
I love it.
Oh, it didn't work.
Battery's running dead.
Oh, my battery died. He's supposed to say that was easy, but it's not easy.
It's easier than you think, actually.
Yeah, it's already done. How easy is that? Too easy. Yeah, it's too. During Wednesday night, I said it's embarrassingly simple.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't you love being told how simple and obvious it is when you're seeking?
No, you just want to kill whoever.
Yeah, the mind doesn't want to hear that. No. Yeah.
No, I mean, that doesn't sound very compassionate to say to seekers. I mean, I generally say, well, you can't find it. That kind of feels a little bit more compassionate.
Mhm.
Just clearly say, I don't see anything.
Mm.
No, you won't see it. That's no, for me, that's compassionate. You're looking for something that can't be found. We're not talking about finding, because that would be the destination that's been sought. So this isn't a finding. This is finding that there's nothing to find. And finding that there's nothing to find may be interpreted by the seeker, because it is a game of hide and seek. That's
Yeah.
and
also identification with thoughts for here. There was so much thought, like still thoughts happen, but there was so much agreement with them and belief in them. And then once it was seen that there's just thoughts arising, and that what is really here is the rising of the chest, sitting on the couch, the colors, you can't even
yeah.
say, but the shapes, and
Mhm.
this is the reality right here.
Yeah.
The mind didn't want to hear that. I remember Angelo saying to me, he said, it's nothing what you expected 2 years ago. And he was correct,
Right.
but it wasn't
Mhm.
anything that the mind expected.
No.
And so it was
No, and the body doesn't have any expectations.
absolutely.
So it's not what the body expects, because the body doesn't ever expect anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Mm-hmm. Mm. Wow. Yeah.
Nothing says that overwhelm or frustration or anything that's not preferred shouldn't be here when it arises.
Mm.
Yeah.
I like what Adashante said about manifesting. He said, "Whoa, I prefer to leave the manifesting to life
Mhm.
because it could do a better job than me."
uh, yeah.
So that's a humbleness. And that's
Mm.
another thing that this is a great humbling.
Mm.
Yeah. I'm a bit wary of humility.
Mhm.
I've got I've got a bit of I don't know. I think because it's a spiritual goal,
Mhm.
humility appears in most spiritual paths as that's it's a higher way of being. Like, what are the feelings that show that you're not on the path? Envy, jealousy, resentment, greed, um, neediness, wanting, desire. I mean, most spiritual, they're all negatives. And so humility is the pride. Of course, pride's the opposite of humility. But of course, the pride is no less righteous than humility.
Yeah.
And I don't find, it's funny you say that, Michael, because I don't have that. I would say maybe somebody said the other day that I was arrogant. And I said, well, there's no sense of arrogance or humility, really. That's more, feels much more like that.
Well,
Because I just think, here's the thing. So I don't know, with my sons, I can feel this immense pride. And I can't deny it's what it is, my boys, and there's this love, but it is pride. And I just think, well, that's a sin, but it's not. It's absolute. It's just it's an enormous outpouring of love. That's what pride is. And then, of course, and then I can feel really humble. There can be great humility, which probably feels like gratitude as well in the humility. It's like just a thankfulness in the humility.
Yeah,
but I would say, see, there's no less love in either. One isn't more unconditional love than the other. They're all expressions of this wonderful human love.
Yeah.
And as I said, I was accused of being arrogant and lacking humility.
Well, when I say humility,
I'm not shy in saying I like my words. For example, when I if you say who are my favorite speakers in non-duality, I'll probably put myself, if not first, then second.
No, first, Tim. Let's get it right.
Yeah.
Which I do it as a joke, but it's kind of true as well. Because here's the truth. Who as an individual human being, who do you think, whose words are you going to resonate with most?
Yeah.
Well, if you don't
Who's
resonate,
going to be closer to the ones that you would use? Well, I'm pretty sure they're yours. Yours are going to be closer to the ones that you would use than anyone else's. It's just how it is.
Yeah, me thinks its words are perfect. I get it. But what I'm talking about, so it's not really humility, the word per se. I just meant there's a compassion here that used to not be here.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah. Well, yeah, and for me, I'd call that innocence rather than humility.
Okay.
So for me,
yeah.
So there's an innocence because no one is at fault. There isn't anyone to take the glory, and there's no one to take the blame.
Yeah.
So that feels like I just think when you see human beings as innocent as trees, that's unconditional love.
Yeah. When I hear humility, I also hear not knowing or unknowing.
Yeah.
Unfathomable. So.
That's right. Yeah.
Right? Because the me always thinks it knows. I think I know what the hell I'm talking about, or why would I be talking? So the humility meaning suddenly oh shit, I'm full of shit.
No, there is great. And the thing is, the humility that you're referring to, Michael, that may have come across as arrogance to self.
It's a fine line, because Leela and I, just before the Zoom, when I didn't know I was arrogant, but I was perceived as arrogant by some people unintentionally.
Absolutely. And I get it a lot.
Yeah.
But again, that's innocent because self hears this and says, well, how on earth does he know what he's talking about? How on earth does she have the nerve to say what she's saying? How dare she? So, then it's a projection of arrogance onto
Well,
her.
he sounds awfully confident over there.
And of course, there is a confidence that comes with this. There is, no doubt about that.
And it's so full on for you. It's full on.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't care. I mean, you can't care and speak about this. You can't care what people think, because I mean, I lost nearly all my friends and virtually all my family for a while.
Yeah.
You leave most of the selves behind if you speak about this. I think that's why most people never speak about it. They keep it to themselves, even if there's I don't know what you want to call it. Even when there's a realization or a awakening to this, then you're not going to mention it because it won't be popular.
I love when you said that if you really see this, you may not be so quick to go visit the Taj Mahal anymore.
Right.
You won't. I mean, no, because I can look out my window and it looks quite as wondrous as the Taj Mahal.
Yes.
Yeah. Same. I'm good. I don't need to go anywhere right now.
No, I don't need to go. I mean, saying that, I've traveled a lot more since I have, so that's a kind of just like most shit I say, I contradict myself by doing the opposite. But there's no need to do it. Like I had a whole wish list, and now there is not. The wish list is very small, if not non-existent.
Yeah. I feel like the preferences and opinions are still there, and they're seen as innocent and allowed, and
Yeah,
sort of held lightly. You know what I mean? Not really
yeah,
believed.
yeah. I'd say exactly the same. And it is lovely for those preferences to be liberated from. Oh yeah, that's a preference that I actually think is okay, but this preference I'm certain is wrong because my mother told me it was wrong. My father told me it was wrong. My teachers told me it was wrong.
Yeah.
My grandmother always said I shouldn't eat 6 bags of crisps one after the other. You know, it's gluttony.
For example, I was taught at a very young age to treat others like I want to be treated. And for some reason, I still prefer that, you know. And if I see somebody sort of being a bully, I honor that preference to want to move away, you know.
Oh yeah, just the same, yeah. Well, that's a lovely. That's a golden rule. That's in every religion. I taught. I don't know if you know. I've told you this, but I taught religion in secondary school for about 5 years at the end of my teaching. And so in England, we have to. In the UK, we teach 6 world faiths. And that treat others as you would like to be treated, That's the Christian version, and it's in all of the 6 largest world faiths. They have a version of exactly the same in every faith.
Yeah.
So that's pretty universal. If I said that was a good rule, that would be it.
Yeah, I agree.
And I had it all the way around the top of my classroom so in Hinduism, Buddhism, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, and Sikhism.
I like Sikhs. Yeah, they have a beautiful culture.
Oh no, and we've got a lot of Sikhs in the nearest city to Peterborough, and I took all the wonderful. It was brilliant. It did more for, I would say, because they were very monocultural white kids. We took them to the Gurdwara, and I don't know if you know, but Gurdwara always has a free kitchen, so you just everyone who goes just eats for free, and it's beautiful. So you get this gorgeous curry dinner for free.
Yeah,
it's wonderful. Yeah.
There's also a preference here to set boundaries. You know, that was taught. That comes up automatically. So yeah.
Yeah, nobody's gonna do that for you.
No.
Yeah, I misheard you, Tim. I know now you're referring to Sikhs, the religion, but when you said Sikhism, I thought you meant seekers.
That's funny. Oh yeah, Sikhism. Oh, you really did think I meant the religion of non-duality seekers.
The disease, the cult of seeking.
Oh my goodness.
Well, that's everyone. Everyone's in that cult.
Yeah. Yeah, you start out with like seeking a boyfriend or girlfriend when you're real small, and it just turns into a monster.
Yeah, it's a monster.
For those of us with existential, issues where we have to know the truth.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, I wouldn't have chosen any of it. It was all against my better judgment to need to know the truth. Seeking of the truth.
It's more like it chose us.
Yeah. It's counterintuitive.
Yeah.
Like you didn't get up in the morning one day and say, "Oh, I think I'd like to be a seeker today."
No. No, not at all.
Yeah,
well, I will say, like most seekers, the worst thing that can happen is a so-called awakening experience. Now that'll fuck you up.
Because then you're going to try and get that back forever.
Absolutely. You'll just be seeking that again.
So funny.
Yeah. So that was in my story, that was the, you've got to have I don't know, the earth for that seed to grow in, but the seed is the awakening experience. You have a oneness experience or a non-dual experience, seemingly, in the story, then I'll be surprised if you can get rid of that. It just won't go away.
Yeah.
It just followed me around like a hungry dog. I told it to fuck off a lot of times. It wouldn't go.
Right, seeking those or trying to chase, even though there's no trying, but just hanging on to those mystical experiences as if it's something special, and then the whole time avoiding what is right here.
Yeah,
it's like another carrot.
I know, it's such a sick joke. No, it really is. Because what does the seeming mystical experience do? It just seems to veil what is even more than it was already veiled. It was veiled enough already, but what that experience seems to do is just make the veil a bit thicker.
And there can be experience. Experience is part of the role in here. There can be experiences of mystical experiences, but then there's just no hanging on to it.
No.
It's just yeah.
It's just another state.
Yeah. And all that we self does, all that self always says is, of course, I'm special because I've had this.
Yeah.
And then you start reading stories of the special ones and seeing if your experience was as special as the special ones. And you ask everyone you go to a meeting with, well, what experience have you had?
Yeah.
And all you're never asking them is, I wonder if yours is as good as mine.
Oh my God.
It's like we're searching for proof that we're special.
It's so true.
It's so innocent too.
God. Is there anything more annoying than a spiritual ego?
Oh, they're quite dreadful. Yeah.
Spiritual materialism.
Tim, could you share anything else, like what annoyed you about any memories of some certain things that he would say that
what annoys me? What's a long list?
Go ahead.
In what context? No, context.
Like you were saying before.
Narrow it down a bit.
Narrow it down.
You were saying the beloved, like you get so pissed when he would say the beloved. Can you remember?
Oh no, well, no, but I'm not pissed at all anymore.
I was just.
No, that was as a secret. No, so I mean, I probably only don't say the beloved because everyone will just say I'm parroting what Tony says. So I just say love instead of the beloved. That's all. Yeah. But the only reason it pissed me so much is because I wanted it so badly. That's what, the things that piss us off are only things that we desire. It's just, well, how come he gets to know the beloved and I fucking don't?
Yeah, I used to hate it when Jim Newman.
Oh God, it's so annoying.
Tim, when Jim Newman would say about his so-called waking experience, which is laughable to me now, but at the time he'd say, "Oh, it's barely worth mentioning." I'm like, you motherfucker. Either it is or it isn't. Don't tell me it's barely worth. It's the only reason I'm here.
It's so fun to laugh about it now,
Yeah.
And of course, he is right. It's not worth mentioning.
Yeah. Oh gosh, the joke never gets old.
Well, here's the thing. I've actually been to, the picture on the front of my book that's Deafening Silence is me and some rocks, where I had my awakening experience. I've been there today.
Oh wow. Oh.
I went on a pilgrimage today
Oh, cool.
to the holy site.
Yeah,
And
I've heard you talking about
I mock myself as I do it, but I actually love it there anyway.
it.
Yeah, isn't it funny? It's funny. I was just telling Leela this morning that story about you with the kids having that
Yeah.
awakening, and then you later
Mhm.
revisiting, and suddenly, because I did the same, and like somehow I'm projecting that this spot is holy.
Yeah.
It's special.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah,
had a Ken show.
yeah, yeah. I've done the same, and I mean, I still love going there though. So I went there today.
A little bit nostalgic. Mhm.
Yeah, very.
Mhm.
Because I don't know if you know, there is a bit of there's another story to it. When that happened and I took the kids up onto these rocks, I got to the top and I looked at the rocks and there's graffiti. People have carved their names and stuff.
Mhm.
And there's I just turned around and there's TC 1962, which is my date of birth and my initials on the rock. This is like a minute after the,
Oh,
and so about 20 years later, I went up to find, because I thought I'll go and find where that's carved in the rocks. And I found it, and I turned round, and freshly carved in the rocks was R.I.P. Tim, freshly carved in the rock the other side.
mm.
So
Yeah.
of course, it's like life's just taking the piss out of me, really. Somebody's, there's my sacred site, and somebody's having a real joke of carving things of significance with my name on in the rocks to
Rest.
make it even more special than as if it wasn't, it was a sacred site anyway, and now it's got my birthstone and my grave.
Wow.
I know.
Perfect.
So I thought I'll go up and just see that I've not made that up today. So I
That's
went
Well, in a
and
way,
beautiful.
you are resting in peace.
Yeah, it's beautiful, right? Because your birth and death are right here.
Mhm.
Yeah.
absolutely, and there they are. They're right.
Yeah.
They're right next.
So
They're right next.
symbolically, it's perfect, full circle.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh no, I did. I mean, I try not to advertise it because it's a bit much. It's looked like, well, he's definitely done that himself because that's,
But someone else
he's
did. Someone else wrote that.
someone else did it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Perfect.
I know. So that was nice.
Yeah, I feel like symbology and meaning is still allowed and can be played with
Yeah.
and had fun with, and it's so
Yeah.
light. Doesn't mean meaning doesn't mean
No, it's funny that meaning loses its meaning.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't lose its meaning, but the meaning is so light that it's meaningless.
Mm.
Yeah. It means just what it means to me, or it means just what it means to you, and it means no more than that. There is
Inherent.
absolutely, there's no meaning.
Yeah. Yeah.
But meaning appears, and meaning is liberated too. So meaning is liberated to be what it actually is, which is each individual human being makes of what is experienced, whatever they make of it. And there's meaning means no more than that. And then again, there's meaning is innocent. Purpose is innocent. The point of life, well, every human being will
Okay.
say whatever they say about the point of life, and there is no more point to life than that. And again, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it is. An intention. It's empty and beautiful.
Mm.
Yeah, and the innocence of it is so beautiful. So somebody would say, "This is the meaning of life," and I'll go, "Yeah, that
Yeah.
is," because of course it is. That's no more or less the meaning of life than what anyone else would say.
Yeah, that's full on that. It's like its own little universe of meaning.
Yeah,
It feels like a feather. It's featherless. Yeah.
yes. And so that meaning has a lightness, and yeah, that's lovely.
Well, this has been a joy, you guys. I have to say, what a pleasure being with you three. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
thanks for inviting me, Michael. Pleasure.
Thank
It was
you.
so nice to meet you, Tim.
Yes.
Oh, lovely to meet you, Leela. I still love the you speaking my words. I think it's. I mean, I like me speaking my words, but I actually like you speaking my words more than I like
Oh,
me
thank
speaking.
you. I'm so glad you
Now,
liked it.
and I don't say that lightly, Leela, because I do like me speaking my words, but
Right? Okay, okay.
you speaking them sounds great.
Oh, thank you.
I know, I do. I really loved it. Well, when you speak anybody's words, they sound great, I have to say. But
Oh.
Yeah, she's done a couple of mine, and my
yeah,
words never sounded better.
no, they never sounded that good.
I'm like, wow, wow.
And she has a
Oh.
beautiful
Yeah,
voice
it's lovely and lovely to meet you, Indira.
too.
Thanks, guys. Have a great evening. Good night, Tim. Good night, you guys.
Good night.